This is Love, Sex, Food with Jigs and Prema. Welcome to episode 5 of Love, Sex, Food. I'm here with my co-host and my beautiful fiance, Prema.
Hello.
And on this episode, we are talking about manifestation, magic and marriage, holding out for your hero. I'm not mentioning any names, but he might be sat next door to you. We are coming off a magical week. So it was Prema's birthday on Thursday. And for her birthday, we took a day trip to Paris. So we've had a lot going on in the past few weeks with Diwali and lots of social events. And we had an event on Wednesday night. We got home and we were up at the crack of dawn, jumped on the Eurostar, and we went to Paris. And Paris is very magical, but it's particularly magical for Prema. And I just want to leave it there because I think she has such an incredible story about how she dated herself.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna hand it over to you.
Okay. It is a very magical story. And we wanted to record this podcast episode so that we can stay in that magic. We're both a bit tired, but we wanted to share in what is possible when you really believe and hold out for your hero. That's why this episode is called Holding Out Your Hero. Because for me, that is what I held in my heart and journeyed towards over the last 3 years. So it's really interesting when you contrast Jigs and I's background, because Jigs kind of was looking for his person through dating, and I was looking for my person through not dating and being single and celibate really for about 3 years. And I wanted to go to Paris for my birthday, which was a little surprise for you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because I wanted to complete a cycle that I began about 2 years ago. It was Valentine's Day, and I decided that I was going to whisk myself away on a romantic trip to Paris on my own and date myself and literally create my perfect days in Paris. And I had the most beautiful time. I booked the most luxurious, gorgeous, historic, romantic flat with a little tiny lift that you had to only one person could get in and squeeze in. You had to kind of pull the door to close it and then press this button and keep holding on to it when you went up. And a red velvet carpet that went all the way up the stairs to my front door. And a beautiful balcony, and it was absolutely stunning. And every day I got up and I just thought, what do I want to do in what I consider to be the most romantic city in the world? It was just amazing.
Didn't you book yourself on you followed the footsteps of one of your most favorite female designers, right?
Yeah, I decided to a day in the life of Coco Chanel. So I researched where she had her breakfast, where the first Chanel shop was, where the number one flagship shop now is in Paris. I took a stroll down where she would go when she was working at her office, and then ended up at the Ritz in the evening, which was where she lived the latter part of her life. So I had a whole day as Coco Chanel. So I was having the best time. I went to the opera house. I took myself out to dinner. What about the bit where I hired, I forgot about this, on an Airbnb experience, I hired a stretch limo, 1970 stretch limo, to take me all around Paris. And it was supposed to be a shared experience. The other 2 people didn't show up. So it ended up just me and this amazing guy who I had the whole car to myself, and he just drove me all around Paris to see the Eiffel Tower this way, that way, and every way. And then just had a whole bottle of champagne that was supposed to be shared between 3 people, but because there wasn't 3 people, it was just me. So that was an amazing trip. Now, that leads me very nicely onto where this current story is. So where this guy picked me up was the Trocadero, which is where Jigs and I went birthday, kind of like last bit of my birthday before we came home. And I arrived there. It was in February, so it was dark. And I remember standing on this beautiful spot, the Trocadero. If you've never been to Paris, this is the place to see the Eiffel Tower. And there's like a big, like, um, big white kind of open area with
Yeah.
steps going down. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And I stood there and I just was so in the romance and love of Paris that I was like, I am going to come here with my person. And I imagined literally that my person was holding my hand, looking at the Eiffel Tower with me, and I had my earbuds with me, and I put them in my ears, and I put on a song which I loved, which is Melanie Garrett, um, with Paris from Paris with Love, and I listened to that, and I just kind of was just twirling and dancing around. I really didn't care one jot what anyone thought, because I was absolutely lost in this magical moment of manifestation. That's when I decided that I was not going to I was not gonna be dating anyone, I was not gonna be doing anything, I was gonna just wait and be in my most romantic life and wait until I bumped into my person. And it was a really potent moment. I was absolutely certain about it because I went to Paris because I love romance, I love beauty, I love creativity, I love food, I love pleasure, all of these things. And yeah, I was not going to settle for anything less than that.
And then fast forward a few years later, come Thursday, I didn't know much about this story. I knew that you'd been to Paris and you told me the stories, but you didn't really tell me much about you were in front of the Eiffel Tower and you danced and had manifested this. And when we got there, you were so excited to see the Eiffel Tower and you were just like a big kid and it was so beautiful to see.
It is gorgeous though.
It is gorgeous.
And it was on the twinkly sparkly
Yeah.
bit on the
And
hour.
and I mean, I light up when I see the smile on your face, and it was just beautiful. And then you call me over, and we put our headphones on or our AirPods, and then we danced. We danced as the Eiffel Tower was
Twinkling.
twinkling, and and then I went to get crepes, and then you made a little post around what that meant for you, and it was absolutely incredible because what you wanted actually appeared. And
Yeah.
how powerful is that?
I think, do you know what? It was really interesting. I said to you, part of wanting to go to Paris, apart from it being my birthday, apart from it being a surprise for you, apart from wanting to manifest our wedding rings when we were there, which, didn't happen, but that's exactly as it's meant to be. It was because there was this version of myself that was still there, was still, still that version of me was there waiting to see, is this going to happen? Is this going to happen? I'm just going to make a wish and let it go and just trust the process. So when I came back to stand on that space, on that place where I made that manifestation, it was like saying to that version of me, you did it. You did it. Everything that you asked for back then is here and now. And it was me almost like holding me and saying to that version of me, it's okay, that made me then burst into tears. Because I was like, actually the relief of putting into motion a fairly large manifestation. Bring me my hero, bring me my person. Like it wasn't a small one, it was a big, cold, fat, come on, universe, here it is.
I've probably I've got a question for you.
Mhm.
Is that during this period from the last time you went to Paris and this time, it's been a couple of years, and at any point in time, did you give up or did your light ultimately diminish on you finding your hero and you ultimately manifesting what you truly deserve?
That's a good question. I think my light didn't go out, and I knew that I had to be with someone who could, match my vibe, really love beauty, pleasure, joy, creativity, adventure, spontaneity, freedom as much as I did, because I wasn't really willing to compromise on my own standard of my own life. We were talking about this earlier when we were talking about, keep your heart open and keep your standards high.
Mm,
It's not that I'm expecting you to be of a certain standard. The fact is that I'm not prepared to drop the standards for my own life.
yeah.
That's the difference. Because why would I not give myself what I absolutely want and desire when I can? Because when it's down to me, I get to choose. Why should I be waiting for you or somebody else to complete me? And it was in that realization that I then went forward and I went traveling to Costa Rica. I went to do my tantra teacher training in Bali. I went to live in Greece for a month. I went to Peru. Did even more incredible things with my business. I became super fearless about everything that I wanted to do because it wasn't about finding someone who met my standards. It was about raising my own desire to live my life in the way that I wanted to, that felt rich and abundant in every way. And it really did. It really did. So when I met you, of course, I was extraordinarily excited because I felt in my body the first time I met you, I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is it. This sense, this absolute knowing in my body. But I could do that because I absolutely knew what I wanted for myself and who I was. It was just a perfect match because had just, I was like, no, I'm not doing anything that isn't this.
But I truly believe that I met you. I met you. You didn't have to diminish or make yourself smaller. You were your wholesome self. And I was able to meet you in that, and then we were able to grow together. So I think that, that is huge. And I think when we talk about keep your heart open and your standards high, when we talk about standards high, it's not about having a checklist, is it? It's about keeping yourself at your highest, holding yourself accountable. And those are your personal standards.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, I did have a checklist for myself. I was like, I want to go to Bali. I want to be a tantra teacher. I'm trained to do my tantra teacher training. I want to go to Peru and I want to sit with ayahuasca. I want to go to Costa Rica to this incredible, amazing festival that I saw years ago. And I was like, wow, who are all these really super cool people that are going to this festival called Envision in Costa Rica? And then I booked myself a solo ticket to go to a festival on my own. That's what I'm talking about. I was like, yeah, this is how I want to live
Mhm.
my life. And if I do this and I honor my own needs and desires, guess what? Along the way, I'm going to have a great time. I'm going to meet lots of people, and maybe one of them might be
Your person.
my hero. Also, I think, to be honest, I also became my own hero to some degree because I wasn't sitting around waiting for something to happen. I went on an adventure. I went on a quest to do everything that I wanted to do. Became very good at being practical, like traveling all around the world with very little luggage. I was able to like arrive somewhere, book hotels just off my phone. I was like very in a kind of doing protective energy
Yeah.
for that time when, I didn't need a man to arrange things for me or pay for me or do this or do that. I was doing all of that. So I actually kind of became my own hero because I never let myself down. And I never let myself down because I chose myself.
But just on that note, do you think then that you then had to step into your masculine in order to do that?
Yeah.
In order to take care of yourself, in order to do what you did, to take control, to lead, to make decisions. Those are when you look at the masculine and the feminine, you were doing very masculine things, as
Yeah.
in,
I had structure.
yeah,
I had a lot of structure. Had I had a bit of a quest, I had a list of things that I wanted to do. I was making a conscious, intentional decision to lead. So I think, yeah, like for me, part of the masculine energy that I love that you have is you're a leader.
Mm.
You do things, you have integrity, you carve your own way. You go this way, you go left if you believe left is right. Left is the correct direction, you don't go right. You've got that, and I think I actually sort of developed that in myself, and then when I met you, I was like, "Oh, I love that in me, that masculine side in me," but yours is like here manifest in reality, and you're really super good looking, and I fancy
Thanks.
you.
Very sweet of you. You're still in the Gaga Google of Paris right now, which kind of leads me to a question. It's like, what's the difference between fantasy and real magic? Because you believe in magic.
I
I
believe in magic because it's real.
So I have become a believer of magic. I'm far much more of a pragmatist. However, I do feel that magic is real. So for you, what's the difference between fantasy and real magic? That kind that brought us together.
Well, our motto, magic is real, love wins.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my mantra now, alongside obviously love creates love.
Yeah.
um, so I think the thing is, right, it's a really interesting question. What's the difference between fantasy and magic? I think magic is something that happens to you often when you least expect it, because pretty much everything in life is magic. Like you put a seed in the ground, a shoot comes up, and then like food appears. Like that's pretty goddamn magic. Like there's magic in everything. Everything is everything that is rhythmical and flows is magic because it's constantly changing and evolving. So magic happens. That's my stance
Yeah.
on that. Fantasy, I think, comes more from your mind. Fantasy often comes from something you might be really wishing to experience, but because it's something outside of yourself. So, if you have a fantasy to do something, it means that you've got a sort of like an attachment to perhaps that being the thing that's going to excite you or give you this or give you that. Now, I think it's important to be curious and to explore fantasy and desires 100%. And I think you can play out a lot with that in terms of like pleasure and everything around what we want to feel fulfilled as human beings. Magic to me is almost like kind of neutral magic, whereas fantasy I think can sometimes come from a place of lack in a way. I don't know. It also can be fun.
I mean, look, there are going to be people out there that are going to love this story about how 2 years ago you went to Paris and you imagined and manifested being there with your person. And 2 years on, here you are. Not only are you there 2 years on with your person, you're actually getting married to them in less than 7 weeks now.
It is wild. It is wild, but it's amazing. It's amazing. And that's why you have to believe. So if you're listening here now, I want you to think about a time in your life where you didn't have something that you have now that you love and cherish. And remember that version of you that really wanted it. What did you do? Whether it was a job or even if it was like, an experience or creating a beautiful dish or, uh, I don't know, finding that perfect pair of high heels or whatever it was. Just think about how you magnetize things to you, or what steps you take, what vibration you're in, what's your mindset when all of those things are happening. It's a kind of joyful lightness. It's a kind of like knowing that, yes, of course, this is inevitable that this will happen. So it's about casting your magic spell, wishing on a star, and then letting go, and then really enjoying the process of seeing how easily and how with how much joy and grace you can actually receive the thing that you want, rather than wishing and going, please, 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 can I have it? When is it coming? And everything like that. Let me just tell you one thing that's really fun that I did as well. And I think this is good. If someone's here listening and wants to manifest this. I decided to think I'm gonna order my hero on Amazon. Okay. So I put my delivery in. I want this man. He's going to be amazing. We're going to have, I didn't say what he was going to be like, but I said, we're going to have this life together of freedom, of travel, of adventure, of creativity, pleasure, of joy, and friends, and all of these things. And I put, okay, so I've sent it off to Amazon. It's gone. So now all I need to do is wait for Amazon to deliver it to me. What am I going to do in the meantime? Because, when you put your order on Amazon, it's going to arrive. Didn't have the Amazon Prime option, unfortunately, on you. But, the point is, I put the order into the universe. And then I was just like, well, just like Amazon delivers, the universe is going to bring this to me. And so I was like, so what should I do in the meantime? Like when you order something on Amazon, you don't sit there like looking out the window, seeing if the guy's coming every second. You don't keep checking your phone. You're just like, yeah, it's going to be coming.
Yeah, you've got to trust.
Yeah, exactly. So I used to think to myself, if I have that mindset around something else that I've ordered, then I'm cosmically ordered up my hero and he is going to be coming anytime soon. So that's the thing. Put your order in, put the order in with so much excitement and gratitude for it being here now.
And
then,
detail though, isn't it?
And detail, yeah. Because for example, if you want to order something on Amazon and you want to, order, I don't know, something like what give me an example of something you put on Amazon. Anything you'd order on Amazon. My mind's gone completely blank now.
Ironing board.
Okay, an ironing board. So you want to order you don't want to put a kettle in.
Very true. Normally you're a lot more eloquent. Wow,
But what I'm saying is
we're
that
talking about ironing board and we are tired. I think that is a beautiful conclusion to talking about Amazon and Prime. But I really did like the analogy because I've not heard that from you before. Going even more into Amazon.
What I'm saying is this.
Amazon, if you're listening and you want to sponsor us, yeah, please. But
you're going to say that every time. Every time.
Yeah,
and we mentioned somebody.
Yeah.
I think it was Bumble last time.
Bumble last time. God.
Also, the Eiffel Tower could definitely sponsor this trip to the Eiffel Tower. Yeah. Anyway, what I'm saying is this, is that just be clear about what you want and put your order in and let it come to you. And when it comes, honestly, be grateful and play with it. Because I loved it. And that celebratory crepe we had, that was also a manifestation. Because I said, I'm not leaving Paris till I've had a crepe.
And there you go.
And then 2 crepe buns appeared.
Yeah.
That's the real manifestation of this story.
It is. It is serious magic. It is serious magic. So look, thank you so much for joining us on episode 5. We're doing this literally off the cuff of having had a crazy 24 hours, but we wanted to stay in the vibration of what was truly a most magical birthday, a most magical, incredible time in Paris, and to have experienced the power of manifestation from what you ultimately put out there in the universe. I'm very glad to be sat here with you talking about this, and yeah, you in the altar and see you at the altar in less than 7 weeks.
Literally what I was going to say. And by the way, we get married. I have to say that at the end of every podcast because I won't be able to say that afterwards.
That's very true. So it's good night from me.
It's good night from me.
Yeah, and
we're going to bed now.
Or we're going to go talk about Amazon Prime shit. Okay. All right. Good night, guys. Bye.